Hello, everybody. Howdy doody. Oh man, it's finally working properly on LinkedIn. It seems. Um, I'm just double checking on my side if the stream is running relatively smoothly or it's trash. You never know nowadays. You never know with these tools. Let's join live. So it's going. Yeah, it seems like everything's working. Hey, I don't know if anyone is going to be joining the stream today, but let me check on mobile. How is everybody's Monday doing? No eyeballs. No eyeballs yet? One person. Hey, welcome. Welcome. It's Monday. It's almost lunchtime. But the reason why I'm doing a stream today, a very impromptu stream, is I discovered a brand new tool called easybranding. And as I've kind of put into or alluded in the description of this stream, is I'm sure a lot of you may know, a pretty big fan of Canva. Been using Canva for many years, and I think there's always been some good competition here and there. I think it's always fun to see who's doing what and who's kind of testing the waters and making sure that they bringing in something new and refreshing. And I think it's hard to also compete with Canva because of all the tech that they've ultimately brought into the tool, but also all the different companies that they've acquired and how they've implemented AI into it. And I think that there's a lot that makes it a great tool, but also a lot that makes the barrier to entry to using Canva maybe a little bit more difficult for some. I'm just going to turn off this music because it's slightly annoying. But I think that that's why it's always worthwhile testing new tools, right? Is by seeing, is this going to be good for my brand right now? Is this going to be good for my personal brand? Is it ultimately easy to use? Another question is like, is it expensive? Is it, does it fit where my pocket is right now in terms of how much I can afford for a subscription model? What is available for free? And I think that this is something where it fits in quite well, and I think it's always good to test and see. But I came across this tool. The CEO and co-founder reached out to me, and I think it's always, I love a good outreach in terms of like test out the tool, because I think for those who, including myself, who live and breathe tools for many years like Canva, um, it's always nice to find that particular gap where the barrier to entry or the ease of use of it is like it's almost non-existent. It's like it's just so easy to use. It's exactly what somebody like myself could be using, and it's also something that I think a lot of people are looking for. So I think the reaction that you'll see from me today in using the tool is pretty cut and dry. I haven't actually used it yet. This is the first time I'll actually be using it. So you'll be following the journey with me in terms of how it looks, how it performs. And at the same time, I think it's for me because it's based on personal brand. I think it's also a blend of personal, but also because by COB is also part of my own personal brand in terms of like how I deliver a look and feel. So I'll kind of put that in there. But to just quickly jump into it, and just so you can ultimately see it, this is what easy branding looks like. For those who are interested and you want to give it a bash, simply scan the code, try it out. It's free. Seems like it's free. It's super easy to use. Just go to the website, select it for free. There are also different, there's a pricing plan where you can use it from a pro perspective. But I think just scan the code, jump on, test it out. And I think there are a lot of people from a follower perspective, people who I follow, but also those who follow me. I've seen the massive conversation right now is ultimately personal brands, right? It seems to be how people are trying to separate themselves to a place where they are not necessarily looking and sounding the same as everyone else, but obviously following the right techniques, the right tactics. Um, and I think you will see that a lot, especially on LinkedIn, where there's obviously creative designs that people like to follow that are very specific to how personal brands are being built, whether it's carousel cards, whether it's the banner on top of your LinkedIn page. And I think that this is where easy branding ultimately falls into in terms of ease of use is here's a range of all the different creatives that are available to you. Um, Gives you the element to like what you can ultimately customize, which seems to be on the left hand side, which we'll touch on now. And then I think that it really just gives you that ability to make content on the fly, really easy, really fast, really seamless. And from what I can see here, it looks like there's only a limited availability in terms of actual. And this is only, obviously what I'm seeing from a free perspective. I don't know. I haven't actually looked. I haven't done my homework in terms of what the pro side would entail, but it's a great start, especially. And I get asked this a lot, right? It's like, can you make me a cover image? Can you do this? And I think that Canva has that, but it's got like thousands to choose from. And maybe there's actually something greater about having a lot less to choose from because it gives you that simplicity. And I can see here already, just from the UI, it shows what's available from a pro plan perspective versus I think what's available for free and how it can probably be exported as well. But to basically just start off with here, let's actually just let's work with the palette and actually just change it and just see. Okay, you all know red. Let's do a light color, dark color. Or maybe we should shift it, but maybe we should make this black and make this red. Ooh, no, maybe let's keep it that way. Red and then make this black. And then let's see how we can make this work. This is obviously there's obviously more effective ways in doing this. You can actually see here on the top left, there's also, which is quite a nice touch, is a palette section. So you can actually choose different palettes. So actually, just for the sake of today, let's just go with a different palette. Let's just do this one. Let's do yellow, white, and blue. And then for primary fonts, I like something that's quite bold, but also quite playful. That's quite decent. And then I think with secondary font, obviously you can see how it impacts your creative and how it actually fits in. I think that's pretty cool. Highlight color. Let's just do a background color. Photo. Let's upload a photo. I'm gonna quickly upload a photo of myself. See how that ultimately looks. I see you get the ability to choose if it's saturated or if it's in black and white. I think in this instance, we'll keep it black and white and see if you add the outline, changes that. That's quite fun. That's quite a nice little touch. Display name, obviously use my name. For a handle, just change the handle to that. And I think that immediately, I think that there's similarities here, right? I think if you do it in Canva, you obviously have that ability to customize which I've shown in one of the workshops before with Canva, is that you can create your own brand guide and you can use colors and all those assets. But that is obviously more on like a particularly advanced level, where this is, I guess that's probably Canva level like 8 in terms of advancement, and this is probably like an easy 2, purely just because it gives you that limited amount to actually choose from. And then you have the ability to go choose the content that you want to ultimately produce. And I think just for today's sake, I think let's just look at LinkedIn banners, because we always talk about banners and how they ultimately look. And I can see now that I've clicked on banner, they've got different design elements at the top. This one is on Pro Plan. These are free, different color variations, different structures. You can see that obviously the similarity between all of them is that the text is always going to be in that particular or same area, purely because you want to use the real estate correctly, but making sure that your profile picture is not in the way. You also want to make sure that there's a clear call to action, that everything ultimately fits really well on here, and that it actually uses the real estate of that space pretty well. So in this perspective, yeah, you get to change the title. You can maneuver things around. Doesn't look like you can, whoop, okay. You can move it around. You can add text, start posting more description. Yeah, no, interesting. So it's nice though, because it gives you that ability to adjust. I see that you can't do multiple selections. You can only do one selection at a time. You also can't do a manual resize, which is no problem, because at least it's keeping the relatively strong, piece of that real estate, that relative sizing that you need. Call to action, you can also vote me. And you can see how it also, I think what's interesting, you can see how the design of these that it's ultimately part of from a call to action is also kind of connected to the actual design elements that are there as part of the actual template itself. And then it gives you, I see that it's got zoom. Okay, it's got zoom. You can shrink that out. I see I'm still on the Pro Plan one, but you can actually see this is quite nice over here. This live preview. I would like this to actually be bigger. This would actually be better if you could actually get a much closer look of how it actually fits onto your page, because you would probably have to also then have a live preview that's then split into mobile and desktop as well, because there's quite a big difference in the way that the view is on phone versus on desktop. But I think that's, yeah, that's quite cool. I think it's just quite nice that it obviously gives you something really basic and really easy to set up and to use. I see if you click on download, it does tell you what the pro element is. You have access to all styles, you have access to all branded assets, you have access to all branded designs, get direct support. So you can choose monthly, you can choose yearly. But just for the sake of testing, if you click on download for free, it will, I'm just checking where that goes to now. Click on download. I think if you copy image to clipboard, you might be able to paste it somewhere. Could paste it in Canva. Um, but if I click on download, maybe something's being blocked. I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing it, but this is in the editor again. So yeah, you can ultimately see there that you've got access to all these types of content over here. You can ultimately also see what's part of the Pro Plan. I think specifically something like carousels. This seems to be part of the Pro Plan. Although there is, no, it's all Pro Plan. But I think that's also super interesting. I think that there's a really nice blend of seeing the different styles and different structures of these templates that are specifically designed for making the right level of content for this type of piece of content, like carousels. And I see you can actually change the aspect ratio. That's quite fun. Oh, okay, that's just loading. You can also add slide. That's also quite interesting. You can choose the type of slide that you want to add. You have the text, you have the description, call to action, footer. It's a nice, I think that this is what the difference is between something like this and Canva. Is like Canva just gives you the template, shows you what other creators have done. This is almost designed specifically for those who are less inclined on the design side, those who know what is necessary for their personal brand. I think it's very easy to go see from what others are doing, what works, what's good design, what's good structure. And I think that that's what brings in good structure to this, because it ultimately does show you what elements will actually come through on the actual creative that you're making. So, hey, listen, I think it's, again, this is, I mean, I'm not going to go too deep into what is ultimately done. I think it's always worthwhile for anyone, if you want to test it yourself, give it a bash. Here's that QR code again. If you want to scan that and you go test out the tool, or just, simply go to easybranding.io. It gives you access to all of this that I've shown you. Test it out, see how it works for your own brand. I think I might ultimately test it out myself. Maybe create a carousel card or something for some of my other channels. But I just wanted to, yeah, I think it's always nice just to find something fresh, something that's ultimately hitting that pain point. And I think the pain point that a lot of people face, is ultimately the personal brand. And like, you don't want to spend too much time designing everything and putting it together. You want to have like what your content is. You want to input something, kind of builds it all for you, then export, and you put it onto your channel. So if you are looking to build out your personal brand, yeah, it's definitely something where, as a great start, would be quite a cool little cool tool to use. So thank you for the 4 or 5, 6 people, whoever has been watching. Little impromptu stream. I think I should definitely be doing more of these. Whether they functional or not on LinkedIn is the question. How many people watch them doesn't really matter. I think it's more a case of like, if I see a new product or a new feature or whatever the case is, I think it's just about making sure that um, you know creating live video content like this ultimately gives you a little bit of a background look in terms of things that I'm discovering, new things, fun things like this, new and fun. And I think it's definitely something that more people should be trying out, because um, I personally don't think I would move away from Canva yet, because I'm probably at an advanced level where I actually use it for everything. But in this perspective, this type of tool, beautiful. Give it a bash. In the comment section, if you do use it, let me know. Reach out to the CEO of Easy Branding, and let them know what you think of it if you have used it. And I look forward to seeing you guys again in the next stream.